2 teams, 1 winner for the ultimate tie-down saddle build-off. So here at Circle Y, we do product design different. So here's what we're gonna be doing today. We've got 2 teams of the best saddle builders we've got developing a new PRCA tie-down saddle. So what we're gonna be doing is we're putting these 2 teams against each other. We're hearing from different ropers in the industry in the PRCA. We're gonna build those saddles. We're gonna test those saddles, and the winning saddle will become the new PRCA licensed Circle Y saddle that you'll be able to pick up at your next dealer. Here we go. Oh yeah, and by the way, the winning team takes the Golden Stirrup and a little bit of cash.
My name is Daryl Nephew. We're gonna go with Cinch to win. Well, you know, one of the advantages I think I bring personally is not only have I built a lot of saddles, but I've repaired a lot of saddles. So in saddle repair, you get to see what's good and what's bad in a lot of people's saddles. And so I'm gonna apply all the good things that I've seen to this saddle build.
My name is Josie Stowers. We're team Stirrup Trouble, and we feel very confident about our design development that we're working on currently. We have a lot of great insight into the industry, as well as a lot of team members who have years and years of experience. So yes, we're feeling really good about it. Personally, I have a lot of connections in the industry, as well as some experience, not necessarily in calf roping, but in roping and knowing what type of saddle fits best for ropers. So I think that is something that's going to be very valuable for the team.
At first, I was a little bit skeptical about the idea, but now that we've gotten into it, it's one of the best ideas we've ever done.
I was pretty nervous but excited. It kind of seems overwhelming to be able to build a saddle in less than 3 days, but I think we're on the right track and it's going to be more than possible.
As the teams got started, step 1 was pretty simple. All they had to do was design the saddle that they wanted to make. The first question that needed to be answered, though, was what did the rider actually want?
Hey, on the fender shade, do calf ropers want their stirrup leather going to the inside or the outside? I don't think, man, I just can't imagine they would want it on the outside where it fits their foot.
Go to the inside so it's slide off easy, yeah.
Yeah, so stirrup leather to the inside.
That look right there, that's gonna look right here.
Yes.
Once they had a game plan, each team had to start by gathering leather that they needed for their saddles. Team Cinch to Win was led by Daryl, and they were a little bit pickier in how they selected the leather they wanted to use for their saddle.
So we went and we picked out some leather to build our saddle with. We were looking at a couple of different things. One, we were looking at how smooth the leather is, but also how consistent the leather is in weight. And leather comes in predominantly different weights, and heavy leather is about 12 to 14 ounces, maybe a little bit heavier. But sometimes, depending on the cow, it could drop off quite a bit. So we were looking for leather that had very consistent weight throughout the whole hide. So we were looking for leather that didn't have a lot of fat wrinkles. And then we're also looking for leather that didn't have a lot of scars. Some of our cattle are free range, some of them are not, that we get hides from. So we're looking for leather that's very consistent in weight, very consistent in texture, and very consistent as far as visual that would be appealing to the eye. So our customer demands that we use a high grade of leather, so we look for really nice consistent leather. We actually regrade our leather from Herman Oak. They send it to us as A, B grades. We actually regrade our leather for leather that goes into saddles and leather that goes into tack to make sure we have a premium cut for the customer.
Well, certain parts of the saddle needs to be softer, so we try to pick out the belly so it's easier for us to form to the tree. We're going to get that, and then we're going to start to build on it. Put on the horn, back cantle, and go from there.
All right, y'all, so we have moved into the next phase of the ultimate saddle build-off. Both teams have found their location. We're starting to actually get leather on the tree and get the ground seats shaped into these saddles. Now, what's really interesting is both teams are taking very different approaches and really looking at different features. So we got one team, we won't talk too loud here, but we've got one team focused on some of the conchos, bringing in some of the newer age styles, some of the flat black painting, taking away a lot of the silver. We've got a different team over here who's got more of a classic background, shaping the seat a little bit different, looking at seat angles and different leather quality choices. You know, we've seen both of these teams select their leather. One team went through meticulously every one of the sheets of leather to make sure they picked the perfect piece of Herman oak leather, while the other team knew exactly what they wanted, went straight to the piece of leather, chose their leather much differently, and we're seeing how that plays out as they move into this phase of building the saddle.
The very first things you want to make sure you do is you want to establish your ground seat. The ground seat is the portion of the saddle that you actually sit on. And this is the most important part when it talks about rider comfort. This determines how wide it sits through the stride, along with the bars, but the seat itself, how wide the seat is for the rider, the position of the rider, and just the overall comfort level. So what we're actually doing now is we're putting in the ground seat, and we're putting on a piece of leather over the seat strainer. The seat strainer's underneath here, and we're smoothing out the leather for it to be consistent. No bumps, nice consistency. We want to make sure it has a very consistent rise in the front, but also we want to make sure, this is a performance saddle, we want to make sure the pocket is towards the middle of the saddle. Some saddles, trail saddles for example, the pocket's back here, but for this we want the pocket to be right here in the middle. So we're developing a seat bearing area right in the middle of the saddle. We're taking away all the bumps, making sure it's consistent, enough rise so it sits narrow for the rider, and this is really key in making a comfortable saddle for the rider itself.
When we want to design a new ground seat in a saddle, we first start by sculpting it from leather. And then when we have it exactly where we want it, we think it's perfected, we've had people sit in it and test it out, then we're ready to scan it. So we will scan the entire ground seat, everything in the seating area, where we will then import that into a CAD program, where we will look at it digitally and make sure that we take the best side, whether it's the left or right, then we symmetrize it so that it'll be perfectly symmetrical. Once we've done that, then we will start designing the actual ground seat out of fiberglass. We do that using a 3D printer to print a plug, which we will then build a mold off of, and then you're ready to build fiberglass ground seats.
So we've really got everything all designed as far as color options that we're going to use, and we're thinking about incorporating some new colors. So we're actually going to go buy some spray paint to test it out and see how it'll all look together. And then we've gotten some great feedback from calf ropers that are in the industry. So we're using that feedback in order to build the best saddle and win the competition.
So I have personally got to sit in each of these saddles and test the ground seat. So we've got obviously the two different teams. We've got Team Stirrup Trouble and we've got Team Cinch to win. They've both taken very different approaches to the ground seat, same general type of philosophy though, getting the leather in. We've seen with Stirrup Crazy, using two pieces of leather, really shaping the front end a little bit different, not going quite as high up the cantle. And with the Team Cinch to win, really using a single piece of thicker leather, running all the way up the cantle. So pockets feeling in very different spots, even though the trees are virtually identical. So really neat to see that come to fruition. Can't wait to see how that's going to be once we get the permanent seat on these saddles.
So we have it in production right now, and we've started working on the tooling pattern. So hopefully the tooling sample will be done by the end of the day. We don't have the shades yet all set in stone, so we'll have to work on that too. And hopefully once we get those tooling patterns set up, we can decide on that.
As day 2 came and went, both of the teams continued the progress on each of their individual saddles. And I think a lot of people overlook the great saddles can't be built in a day.
We're actually making the riggings. We've got the skirts set, we have the fenders made. These are our fenders. We have our rear cinch made, and now we're getting our riggings made in order to go ahead. We got our skirts designed. So we're tooling our skirts now, then we're going to block them onto the saddle, which means we're going to make the bar recess into the skirt. We're going to make our plugs and go ahead and put our skirts together. So we got a lot happening right now.
Okay, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna put these D's off in here. And kind of beat that down right there. Then we're gonna take a snow number 6. Put it right there. Then we'll go rivet it, punch 2 more holes, and we'll lace it. Let's go rivet it. Rivet them bad boys together. What do you say?
What do you want?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Get your film to do it. Her on there. Nope, go the other way. Other way. Yep. Did it, son?
See? Now get your film.
Perfect. 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 See? Set her down there. Back to the drawing board. Ready to get you a little bit bigger one. We'll put one there. One there. Grab another one. One there. Now it's time to lace them together. We're gonna get us 1, 2, 2 words. You wanna cut that in half for me, Roger?
You want lacing it?
Lace them. I was gonna do it and lace it. Bueno, make it better. Hey, then you take this sticker and you put it in there like so. There you have it.
So we find working on the panel for the housing. So since we already have a piece of scrap of leather, and we're going to put on the good leather for coating.
So we just spray painted our hardware a dark matte brown so that way it'll match our PRCA conchos, just to get a test and a feel of what it will look like in contrast to the rest of the saddle. Ultimately, this should be a pretty good representation of what we're gonna get. We're really excited about those, and then our seat is gonna be a contrast to the leather as well. And what it's gonna go back to is it's gonna match the darkness that you get whenever you tool the light leather, so the shadows will all accent this dark brown hardware and then the dark brown conchos.
All right, guys, it is day 3 of our ultimate saddle build-off. We're bringing in the big guns, so we brought in a set of calf roping horses, as well as some competitor saddles. We're doing a full analysis, of the things they like, they don't like, how it's sitting on the horse, so we can make sure that we're taking care of all those issues. And we've got both teams with their saddles almost done. We're gonna check fit on the horses, verify everything's good, and get this finished out.
The skirts aren't all the way set in, we just kind of pack them in place. And so, as far as making contact, then the weather feel that makes good contact. But again, this is a hog tree, so y'all are used to. Let me tell you a couple things we did that, just from the feedback that we got. We did make our skirt about 1.5 inches shorter than a typical team roping skirt. But then we came in and we, when we got our skirt wet, we nested our rigging into the skirt so that way it'd be nice and flush back here. And if you look at our D's, we actually made them where they canted down, so when we put our billets on there, they don't have a lot of room to play.
Right.
We moved them a little further forward, so you don't have to bring your cinch at an angle. It can actually sit straight down. So where you see your placement on that is just right behind the poncho.
Yeah.
The placement on this is almost directly beneath the poncho.
Right.
And so that was really from Marcus told us it'd be wise to move them forward a little bit because they said these horses are getting a little more short coupled and a lot stouter.
Yeah.
So their body needs, so the cinch is kind of, see how that's canted forward?
Right.
So we'd like for the cinch to drop a little further or a little straight down.
Yeah.
And then one thing we're doing, I'd like to get your feedback on this, is we're bringing our, I noticed these don't have breast collar Ds, but we're gonna do our breast collar D coming off the front rigging, and we're gonna hand lace it so that way the D will hang off just past the seat jockey so it won't fold up when you throw your breast collar up.
Yes.
But it'll also allow your breast collar to sit a little bit higher so it doesn't sag.
Right.
You know, so what do you think of that idea?
Yeah. I got a couple thousand breast collar D's on, and I prefer them going back to my D ring.
Because
the breast collar rings, they feel like they get them up on your horse's neck like that. They stay just a little bit lower.
yeah, I could see that if we went way up.
And I usually rip them out too.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. I ripped a few of them out.
Well, don't do that.
I know. Yeah.
What causes them to rip out? Just the amount of
Pressure.
the pressure that's going.
Because we rope 10 or 15 calves out of the saddle a night every day.
So you rip them out straight out of the skirt?
No, there's my leather brake right here.
Okay, so if we were going to do that, we should line it with biothane or some type of nylon to make it stronger.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what do you think of the fit and some of the ideas we have behind it?
I think it looks good.
You don't have to hurt our feelings, man.
Oh, for one, I'm not a big fan
Of that?
of the
That?
square rings with
Yeah.
these.
Yeah.
And I don't think a square skirt calf saddle is going to do good for some people. I don't think that's the style.
Okay,
Yeah.
so more rounded?
Yes, I have a round skirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that because calf ropers, they like a cleaner look, and square skirt saddle is going to fold up.
Okay.
So I changed that.
Okay.
The one's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I put a round skirt on it, and different D's.
Yeah, these were actually, we made these ourselves. And if we did make them, there'd be a flat plate.
Yeah.
So there'd be a flat tee. Yeah.
I think you are doing good though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good, because I'm going to send it to you and let you test ride.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
You know how you're talking about them coming up and back earlier? That saddle over there will probably come up and back. This saddle fits down on the horse's back. And it fits down and it fits them good in the back. That way it probably won't come up whenever you rope something on it. I like this saddle. I think it's going to be. You folks? Yeah, it's a little less fat. Yeah.
You're getting a lot of pressure from this point to this point. You know, because you're going to think this is going to drop out of sight. Yeah. And that saddle's going to do just like that. And then all of a sudden it's going to do this. You know, it's going to, you got two directional. It's here and then there. At almost simultaneously.
What do you think about the flat hardwood? Just from a style thing.
It's a different look.
But show them the PRCA concept.
I think the shiny hardwood. I'm Hudson Hermes, and I rope calves and steers. I ride a bunch of different saddles. I got some Barnes, some Wilkies, some Whartons, and a couple Airmans. I like them all. They're, every saddle's got a different thing to it. Everything fits different. I got everything for a different horse. Like I got a Barnes that fits a little wider back horses. And my Wharton, it fits a little more horses with withers. And my Wilkie, it fits about everything, so very good. Man, I make sure they look good, but they gotta fit a horse right. If they don't fit a horse right, you don't have nothing. And make sure they got a good seat. You can move your feet in front of you and behind you. I don't like them where they sit straight down, but I like them where you'll be able to ride them. You know, you can't just wherever you're loping a circle and you feel like you're gonna fall off. That's really good.
The main thing I see on these saddles are the way they put their riggings on. They actually rivet them to the skirt to keep the rigging down where there's no bulk. That's the biggest thing I see. So I definitely think we're going to try to start integrating that into our roping saddles too.
Man, I think the round skirt saddle will be a little better. It fits a horse better. It fits down on their back. The square skirt saddle, it fits a little more like it's going to come up in the back whenever you rope something out of it. And the round skirt's a little cleaner look.
I feel really confident regarding the fit of the saddle. There are a few cosmetic changes we would like to make, a few nitpicky things here and there that will ultimately help us fine-tune the design. But the overall fit on the horse was really, really promising to see that we are headed in the right direction.
All right, guys. Hey, day 3. Man, we've gotten a long ways. We actually spent this morning and we looked at some 3 horses. We put our saddles on them, and we had some calf ropers here. Just give them some feedback. They had some saddles here, and all in all, we're pretty good. We actually did make some changes as a result of it. We had a unique rigging D that we made up and realized that probably isn't the way to go, so we moved it. We had a breast collar D we were going to put on. We decided to take it off. We're going to let them take their breast collar D straight to the rigging D. So we made some changes. I'm glad we did it. Now we're pressing forward. We're getting ready to put our seat in, putting our riggings on. We're going to hand lace them in. Hey, what we did do right, there were 2 main things that's really important for the calf roper. One, our saddle fit on the horses really well. And so we didn't even have our skirts tacked down all the way. We had a great fit with our tree. That was exciting. The other thing I was excited about was actually our seat and the rise we had in our seat. We had a really defined pocket, a nice rise for the saddle. So those are 2 wins for us. And we're going to try to see if we can get to the finish line and see if Cinch to Win can pull it out.
I do feel like I've earned the right to talk some smack, specifically because I asked their opinion on which saddle fit better, and it was Team Stirrup Trouble, so that was really reassuring. I did get some feedback on our hardware direction, and that we need to scratch that, which will be an easy change for the future, so I'm looking forward to that.
That one you've already done. No?
Little bit more.
Yeah, a little bit more.
For the inside.
Yeah, for the inside.
Obviously, there's still some final touches that need to be made on these saddles, but ultimately, the concepts were solid, the week was over, and now it's time for Team 1, which is Stirrup Trouble, to be the first to present their saddle.
So we started off with the hog tree, and from the tree out, we did some groundwork modification to build up the front a little and give it a little nicer pocket. Wanted to make sure we got a narrow seat in it. We had started out with a skirt that was really deep, and based on some feedback from riders, we actually shortened our skirts, about 3/4 of an inch. But then in talking, getting more feedback from users of the saddle, even though we had shortened the depth of our skirts, we still need to shorten it a little bit more, probably another inch to an 1.25 inches. We changed the shape of our housings to accommodate the slot for the rear rigging tie straps. We thought it was nicer to have it built into the housing shape instead of an extra piece that's hanging underneath there. For the overall look, we decided to go more rough out. So we've got like a 1/4 tooled saddle here, the swell, the back cantle, and the housings would be tooled grain out, and the rest of the saddle would be rough out so that the riders have some grip. Our fenders are double ply, but they're lined with the oil tan, so even though they're thick, the oil tan is soft, so there's still flexibility. They're not going to be really stiff and hard to break in from the get-go. Aesthetically, we decided to try a hardware and an alternate finish. And in a finished product, this would be like a brown iron hardware. For the purpose of this prototyping, we spray painted a matte, like chocolate brown hardware to match our conchos. Our seating is a new color for us. It's kind of a, I don't know, milk chocolatey, but it coordinates really good with the conchos. It just picks up that kind of rustic look and the German silver. And so we've got a white stencil pattern in the seats. So we've got a couple of different tooling designs to consider. One is a dogwood flower with some basket weave, a combo tool. And the other is an oak leaf with a combo tool. So that's something that we could pull and kind of see what people like better. Incorporation of the PRCA logo, we decided to put a tailpiece on our saddle, and we did a rough out tailpiece with the 3 bars in a laser engraving.
Awesome.
Did I miss anything? No, you did good. Okay.
Now, not to be outdone, it was Team 2, Cinch to Win's turn to present their unique saddle and all the special touches they decided to put into their calf roping saddle this week.
We actually came up with a brand new tooling design that Carlos had invented. What do you call this flower, Carlos? The Carlos Special. So this is the Carlos Special. And so we blocked in our skirts. We wanted to have a kind of a theme, actually. So we've got the red trim on that we put when we laced it in. And we're actually going to have Latigo tie straps with the PRCA on the rear of it. So this will actually go right here. So we have the PRCA logo on it. This is a hog tree. We're going to tool the swell and the cantle binding similar to the rear housing. And underneath here, we're going to have the 3 red symbols for the PRCA. That's going to be tooled right here underneath so you can see it. So the contrast of the red here. And so we did raise the front of it a little bit. So we put in a new ground seat on top of the seat strainer. And when we compared the two, they're very similar to what the other team put in. And then we'll have this brown stitching with a cream color that we're going to do. And so we went between a full rigging and a 7/8. We kind of split the difference just to set it back a little bit. We took the advice of Marcus, and we moved this forward a little bit, but just about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch, not much. We didn't want to go too drastic. And then we tried to follow we didn't try to. We followed our curves everywhere. So you see how we did kind of a semi-round skirt? We did that on all the areas of our saddle, including our rear housing. Our seat jockeys have those very similar. We even cut this in to have very similar turns. So we wanted to have a lot of symmetry in the saddle from front to back. Our depth on our skirt is about 13.5, close to 14 inches on the back, right at 11 inches in the front. And then our rigging system that we put in, we actually recessed. When we blocked the skirts, we recessed the riggings into the skirt. So that way, when we put our rear housing on, it's going to sit really flat and nice. Our leather was really thick, and when we looked at the saddles this morning, we decided we would not line all of it, but we did line the rear housing. And of course, when we blocked in our skirts, we did the fillers on the skirt system as well. And we also lined the fenders. From what Marcus said, he said that they want us to be pretty stiff. So when they come out of the stirrups, they're not really twisted and they can jump out of it real quick. So these are also lined in this area in order to keep a real nice stiff fender. That's our design.